Greetings of peace to each one, and a warm welcome to today's reflective session on holistic healing and well-being in yogic silence. Event is organized by the International Day of Yoga Committee at the United Nations, and the topic for the event is Resistance, the New Renaissance, a dedication to Black History Month. Today's experience begins with Judy Rich sharing stories about her wonderful mom. Judy Rich is an experienced graphic designer based in Calgary, Canada, with a history of working as a coach, communications coordinator, and a yoga and fitness teacher. Judy also coordinates the Brahma Kumari's activities in Calgary.
It's such a pleasure and honor to enter this sacred space and explore yoga, healing, and well-being. And the theme this month, February, we think of as love, but also it's Black History Month. And this theme of Black resistance as the new Black Renaissance, if you will. And so I was invited to reflect on this relative to a recent event in my life, which was the passing of my mother, who was of Jamaican ancestry. And what a unique soul that was for me in my life. So many lessons in how that soul lived their life, which I continue to reflect on at this time, and I think have a lot to do with yoga in terms of that inner union, healing, and well-being. And the soul, of course, raised in the islands, but came to Canada, where they met their husband-to-be, and was really finding themselves in environments that were very different from the culture they had been raised, what we might call a minority in many of the gatherings. But what I found was so unique about that soul and so healing, and I appreciate in my own life, was although someone might look at them by the color of the skin, she had a unique and I think very natural art of looking at others in a much deeper way, much deeper than the color of the skin. So her response was naturally nonviolent. She really looked at the heart of others, really was able to see beneath so much to the very heart of the one she faced. And that vision enabled her to maintain her personal dignity. It was her resistance, if you will, to any other attitude others may be projecting onto her. She just had this wonderful vision for others that was very deep, and it transformed the vision others had on her. I saw this so much. I say that it was a huge part of our upbringing. We really did not see the surface. You know, we had one parent in one colored body, another parent in another colored body, and we literally did not see it. We were far more sensitive to who they were beneath the skin. This was a deep lesson in the household, and it turned out to be a very powerful response. Some might say a non-violent weapon to anything that might come to undermine our personal dignity. I deeply respected this gift that I received from her that helps to protect my own well-being, her legacy. wishing you a wonderful experience of yoga, healing, and well-being in this sacred space.
How inspiring that was. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Thank you, Judy, and your wonderful, lovely mom. I have the honor of introducing the Reverend Canon Lloyd Casson, who is Rector Emeritus of Saints Andrew and Matthew, having served as its first rector. He was honored by the community and his parish when he officially retired on June 3rd, 2007, after 43 years of ministry in the Episcopal Church. A native Delawarean, Canon Casson served for 10 years as the rector of the Episcopal Church of Saints Andrew and Matthew, a unique parish formed out of the union of two historic Episcopal churches in Wilmington, one with a predominantly white membership and the other, the predominantly Black. As the chief pastor, Canon Casson provided spiritual and administrative leadership to this new congregation, which continues to be an instrument of reconciliation and diversity. With such a wealth of experience and wisdom, it is our privilege to have the Reverend today with us. And even more so than that, Reverend Canon Casson is a close friend and a dear brother. Right after we've heard from the Reverend, Jeannine Otis, who's a versatile singer, musician, and composer, will do us a rendition. She's passionate about spirituality, and her wonderful, serene personality comes through in her voice. I'll ask you one favor. While Jeannine is singing, if you could kindly turn your cameras on, and you will see why at that time. Until then, I now ask the Reverend to share.
Good evening, friends. This is really a wonderful opportunity to be here with you in this very unusual celebration and observation. At the same time that we're thinking about yogic, the benefits of yoga and Black history. When I was first invited to speak about this, I thought, well, that's odd. I've never had that bequest. I've never had to talk about those two things. And yet, as I thought about it, I realized that they really do have something to do with each other. And so that's what I want to share a little bit about. But before I do, I want to thank Judy for that very inspiring story. She's really said in a beautiful way, made many of the points that I would be making. It's just beautiful. And I want to also thank Sister Gayatri and Sabita for reaching out to me and for the support and so on that they're giving me in this process. And I want to do a shout out to Jeannine Otis, whom when I learned that she was going to be here, I was really surprised, because when I was the priest in charge of St. Mark's Church in the Bowery, Jeannine was the director of music. And so it's just wonderful and serendipitous for us to be meeting like this. I'm very, very glad. And one final shout out, there are some members of my own meditation class at St. Andrew and Matthew who are on this call tonight. So I just want to share that. I said that the idea of yoga and the wholeness that comes from yoga, both spiritually and physically and so on the one hand, and the implications of Black history have a lot to do with each other. And I just want to reiterate that and start with a few words about Black history itself. I'm sure there's nobody on this in this space who hasn't heard of Black History Month in one way or another. It actually started back in 1926 with a Black Harvard graduate historian who was really concerned about the fact that not very much was known about the achievements of Black people in this country. And by that, I mean anybody. And so he established an organization a few years before that. And then in 1926, initiated Black History. It was called Negro History Week. And I'm old enough to say that when I was in school, from elementary school through high school, that's what we celebrated, Negro History Week. And he chose February because Frederick Douglass, a Black abolitionist, and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays both are in February. And so he thought that would be, a propitious time to for this kind of an observation. And then I think it was like 1974 that President Ford signed an executive order making Black History, Negro History Week, Black History Month, sometimes called African American History Month. His feeling that there was just so much that the nation needed to understand and to know about Black achievements in this country. And in a way, the rest is history. I remember when I was a child learning about, the famous people, George Washington Carver, who had done something with peanuts, and Dr. Charles Drew, who was a person who was able to create a preservative for plasma so they could be used, blood plasma, that is, so they could be used across the board for whatever blood type a person might be. And there were others, of course, Harriet Tubman and all the names that we've heard about down through the years. And in recent years, as there have been more achievements and more opportunities in this country, there's been a greater, the list has grown of notables, of Black notables. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It quickly comes to mind. And there have been others. But what has been missing, and what had been missing, was anything other than this list of notables whom we studied and learned some things about. But I can tell you that I did not know the history of my people the whole time I was in school. I knew very little about slavery, very little about Reconstruction. I'm not even sure I heard about that until I left. And the Jim Crow laws is something I learned about by experience, by being involved, by being caught up in it. Black history has been a kind of an anemic study for a long time. Now, that's not true now. I mean, it's now beginning to be taught. There are Afro and African American studies in universities where the story is being told. The real issue of slavery, 400 years of slavery and all that implied, how the institutions and structures of our nation have even been defined by the institution of slavery itself. The economy of the nation, etc., almost everything, in some ways, even its value system, depending upon the institution of slavery in this country. So it's wonderful that in recent years, we have been really noticing and experiencing growth and achievements and progress in race relations in this country. the idea that a person who is white is superior to a person who is black, and vice versa, which was almost rooted in the soil of this nation in the beginning, has been changing somewhat. And we've had cause to celebrate, I think. On the other hand, I'm detecting, you are detecting, we're all detecting that there is something about Black history that is unearthing a tremendous amount of fear and insecurity and lust for power and so on, that is creating havoc in this country, and really the possibility of even tearing down the democratic institution that we have all come to revere. And I've been thinking about that from a spiritual standpoint, because I have a sense that the real struggle is really profoundly spiritual. I think that the color issue that I mentioned earlier certainly is at the heart of it, that the system has been developed in such a way that the value of people have been determined by their race, Africans, the slaves, and so on. We were brought here with the idea of being property, not human beings, but property. And white was the superior, the privileged race and class, and the blacks were really the beasts of burden, so to speak. It was really that bad. And I have to admit that I think that a part of the problem is that we've never been able to change that formula for depending upon who's valuable and who isn't. Even the Constitution said that Black people were only 3/5 of a person for purposes of census taking and the benefits of population sizes and that sort of thing. But something is going on now. Even in the days, these very days, almost everything seems to be a kind of backlash against even the teaching of Black history. Not only the denial of opportunities in voting and so on, and voter suppression and that sort of thing, but just the notion that there's something to say about Black people that would be a problem for the white population. Also, the problem of the population size, the growth of population, of Black population, and of people of color in this country is frightening people. And so there's something profoundly difficult that is going on that is of the spirit. It isn't just an economic thing. That might be a part of it. But there is something profound going on. And I think it's this. I think that we all suffer from profound insecurity about who we are as people. What is our real identity? I think we do. I think we've lost sight of the fact that our identity, who we are at the core, is so much more than anything that any constitution or declaration or superior race or anybody can decide. You are exactly what God has created you to be from the very beginning. From before you were born, God had decided that you and I and everybody and all of creation would have at its core and its heart the very love of God. That we are not only people who can love, but are created and embedded within us is love. We've just lost it. We've lost sight of it. It's hidden from our eyes by the fear, by the lust for power and greed and so on, because we're trying to prop ourselves up to take the place of the divine source, and consider that it's either our race or our nation or our wealth or something that defines who we are and our value and so on. And so I, for one, think that the situation that we've been experiencing with the pandemic and so on is really helping us to see that the basis on which our society rests is faulty. And until there is a shift in consciousness in this country and in this world, really, then we're done. We're done. And I believe that it's up to people like many who are in this space tonight, and people of religion and people of goodwill, to be open to this shift in consciousness. And I believe it's happening in places. I see it happening in places. But I believe that it's really important for us to recognize, again, these very important facts. Number one, all of us are interconnected, all people everywhere, and all beings, the whole world, the planet, we're all one. One. And God is one with us. We're connected that way. And that's a fact. We may not realize it, but our struggle reveals it to us. The struggle reveals the hole that's in our heart, that missing place where we are missing the connection that we are to God and to one another. It's division that we have allowed to be the definer of our reality. And so I think when I think about the United Nations adopting a day, an annual day, the International Day of Yoga, at first I thought, I had never heard of it, but the United Nations suggesting this practice and all that implies, yoga, physically and spiritually, is a connecting practice. It's designed to enable us to feel and experience our wholeness physically and spiritually, mind, body, and spirit. And when that happens, it enables us to see the world through those eyes. And I think that that's what the spirituality, the shift in consciousness that needs to happen, is one where we again see through the eyes of God one another and all of creation. That's really what needs to happen. Now, part of the theme for Black History Month is resistance. And the organizers of this evening's discussion or reflection called resistance the new Renaissance. And I really think there's some value in thinking of it that way. Resistance, as Judy was saying, as she had learned from her experience, that resistance is not only pushing back in the sense of being angry and all that sort of thing, but what you resist in order to experience that oneness, that you resist the feelings of hatred and division yourself, that you resist them, that you resist being defined out of your outside of who you are, that you resist accepting and being the evil that you deplore, that you allow yourself to be the very love and light and beauty that you are created to be, reflecting that in all that you are and in all that you do, all that you say. Now, I don't mean that the struggle for justice is inappropriate. Not at all. I spent most of my ministry on the streets. I do mean that there's more to it than just the bitterness in our own hearts that really takes away our possibility and the strength that we need to resist properly. We do need, as Representative Lloyd said, to make good trouble. We do need to resist evil. That is to say, to really work hard for legislation that changes not only the system, but ultimately the consciousness of the nation. We really do need to make sure that there's reform in policing in this country. We need to address issues of poverty and injustice and mass incarceration. We do need to address these things. But nothing is going to change until we have changed, have had a shift in our consciousness so that we see that everyone is valuable enough to deserve the best. All that we have and all that we are, and all that the earth can give us for ourselves, for the present, and for the future. That's what I think really needs to happen. A good meditation practice is something that we all need, I think, and one that I cherish is loving kindness or metta practice or meditation. It is a practice that enables us to begin to reinforce and remind ourselves who we are, that oneness that yogic practitioners practice and that affects their minds and bodies and spirits also needs to be, we need to experience that in meditation and other practices. We need to experience, first of all, loving ourselves. That's really what's at the root of all of our troubles, is that we haven't learned or we've forgotten how to appreciate and love ourselves for who we are in the present moment, who we are now, without the definition of a constitution or any piece of paper. It's just the reality of who we are. And then to recognize that same thing is true of everyone. That you are, in fact, endowed by your Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, of wholeness, of justice, of peace. And so our institutions and our nation's structures are revised with that in mind, that becomes the mission of the nation, of the structures. That becomes the mission. The possibility for the fruitfulness of every single human being, of every citizen. That's their birthright. And so we need to affirm that, beginning with the affirmation of ourselves, remaining in constant remembrance of the divine source of God by whatever name you call this divine source, and also the connection with one another, a common destiny, as Dr. King says, and our destiny with the rest of all other creatures of earth, so that this earth and all of us would thrive and be the evidence of the love, beauty, and light and truth of God for the universe. And so I'm going to invite you to just a brief practice. It's called loving kindness. Just close your eyes for a minute or open. Put your feet on the floor. And the first thing I want you to do is to simply be aware of the present moment. Just call yourself into this present moment, letting go everything that you have experienced today, everything that you may be doing when you leave this space. Just be right here, present. Open your heart. Begin to feel in every breath the infusion of God's love and peace coming into you. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you have joy. May you be happy. On every inhale, may you be happy. May you be well. May you be free of danger. May you have joy. Experience coming into you through your breath from the center of the universe, this divine wish for you. Happiness, wellness, security, joy. Breathing in. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be free from danger. May I be joyful. And as you exhale, breathe this out into the world. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joy. Allow every pore in your body to be infused with this divine wish from the center of the universe. God's wish from you, for you, from before you were born. And now you can see standing in front of you someone who you love, someone who is very important to you, a mentor, a friend, someone who has helped you in your life, in your spirit, in your soul. And wish them, may you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joyful. See them warming up to you, smiling with joy, beginning to reflect back to you the divine wish for your happiness, for your wellness and wholeness, for your security from danger, for your joyfulness. And now with an inner smile, let the image of that person recede and rest in the effusion of loving kindness. And see in front of you a person or persons whom you might call neutral, whom you know. You may pass them on the street, or their workers and colleagues. Generally, they go their way, you go yours. And say to them the divine wish. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joyful. As they look back at you coming from their eyes and their hearts, that same wish to you. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joyful. And again, with an inner smile, let the image of that person or those persons go as they rest in the effusive love that comes from the center of the universe. And now let's stand before you that person or persons who may have caused you to suffer. About whom you have doubts and fears, whom you do not know, do not trust. And as you breathe in and out, allowing to spread out from every pore in your body, from every ray that flows from your heart, that beams from your soul. Wish them, may you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joyful. And see him or her or them smiling with joy, beaming with joy, and beaming from them the divine wish to you. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free. And with a smile, let the image of this person or those persons rest in the effusive love that comes from the center of the universe. And then look at the whole world, every continent, and say to all people everywhere, and to all beings, to the oceans, the mountains, the deserts, to the animals, to all of creation, may you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joyful. And hear the universe bring back to you. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free of danger. May you be joyful. Not only practice this at a morning sit or an afternoon sit, but let that be the eyes and the heart and the mind through which you view the world and act on it. Let this be your purpose in life. It will come back to you. But this is not transactional. It just is. Let this be your truth. Let this be your consciousness. May there be a new day.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Wow. Words cannot express how I'm feeling. I don't even want to come into sound. But thank you so much, Reverend, for those words of wisdom, words of encouragement, enlightenment, and reminding us that love is what we've been created by and has been infused with, and so many other wonderful points. And thank you for your presence and that very powerful meditation, which I'm sure we won't forget. And thank you, Jeannine, for wrapping it all up so beautifully, letting our light shine. And so, to bring us to a final close, I'll ask our dear brother if there is any one blessing he wants to leave us with before I say thank you to all of you.
May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from danger. May you be joyful.
I thought that's what you were going to say. Thank you very much. We will definitely hold that very dear to our hearts. And so thank you to all of you who took the time out to come to this evening and grace us with your presence and your beautiful energy. Thank you so much, Reverend, again, once again. And thank you, Jeannine. And thank you, of course, Judy, for that wonderful video about your mom. I just want to remind all of you that you are invited to this monthly session, healing session, on the 21st of every month for the rest of the year. In March, it's going to be a Tuesday again, and it's going to be dedicated to the International Women's Day and Happiness Day. So please mark your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you.